Hey, welcome back. Thanks so much again for joining us. Kind of recapping what we talked about, the problems of not having a home inspection as a seller. And there are numerous ones. We talked about how a buyer can literally walk away, but also we can, on the water or structural or environmental or even termite. Those are things that can actually happen. Doesn't mean that they will. It just means it gives them the opportunity to, and that's something that most sellers don't want to have happen to them. But Kathy, during the break, me and Kathy were talking about, I'm joined here with Kathy Popovich. She's our transaction coordinator, fantastic at what she does. And she's seen so many different situations like that. But as we were talking about, one of the things that maybe sellers aren't as aware of, and that's kind of the stress point of how fast, or maybe sometimes they don't realize how slow these inspection processes can go.
I've had several occasions where a buyer will do an inspection, and then the seller expects to have the results of that inspection within hours, and it just doesn't happen that way. Again, it's another stress point during the whole sales process. Sometimes it can take as long. We have a total of 10 days according to our contract to get the inspection done and get the results to the seller. And sometimes it takes that 10 days. And in the meantime, the seller's sitting there for that 10 days wondering, oh my God, what's going on? Is it a big problem? Is that's why it's taking so long? And just their stress level goes up and up. So this can become a big issue.
Yeah, and that's a point too that again sellers don't know, and that's why having that pre-inspection, we call it a buyer assurance program, where you can get all those inspections done. Again, this is less than $500 in most cases to relieve that type of situation, to know that you have a great house. So it's not a big cost factor. And I think the other thing too, you mentioned 10 days, but good or bad, the buyer also has up to 20 days to have these inspections done. So during that time, as I mentioned before, this is the same thing as offer and acceptance. If you don't come to an agreement and the inspection is 19 days in and things fall apart, you've been off the market now for 3 weeks. And that can have a serious cost factor of getting you back onto the market. So more and more sellers, and I wish more sellers did do about it. I think many sellers maybe don't even know about it. But by sellers getting more proactive, we're seeing that having much, much greater results and not having the buyers come after them. They're ahead of the game. With that being
that way, there are no surprises either. Then you're not sitting there on pins and needles waiting for these results when you already know what, if there were any problems, that you've already taken care of them and it's done.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point. And again, Kathy has done hundreds and been involved with all kinds of transactions like that. And so it just happens so, I should say often, is just as far as the stress. I was talking to a home inspector that did a pre-inspection for one of our sellers, and the seller comment was, it was the best $500 peace of mind I've ever done. For $500, got everything done. Look, most of the times it's nothing serious. That's the good news. But if it is, you can be proactive and taken care of. With our time that we have here, I want to also hit on, and the third one I saved for last, and that is the oxy permit. That's the oxy inspection. It's rare now in the Metro East where there isn't some form of either the city or the county inspection. This kind of goes back onto that. I said the doctor before, maybe going to the dentist. You're really nervous 90% of the time. What you're worried about doesn't really happen. Maybe it's something minor. Maybe it's nothing at all. Maybe you just get your teeth cleaned. The reason why I bring that up is oxy permits. Oxy permits, just so you know, if you're a seller, if you don't have that done, that can kill a deal. That will not let you sell your house. And the process is so simple. I mean, Kathy, it's a phone call, right?
Right. And many times agents forget to advise their sellers to get this occupancy inspection done. And the buyers need to have that pass that occupancy inspection in order for them to get their utilities hooked up when they buy the house. So it's a really important inspection. So they need to make sure that this is be proactive and get this done right at the beginning of the listing or even before.
Well, and the thing is the inspection. Look, if you're thinking about selling your home, most inspections, you bring them in, they last a year. Okay.
Right.
And usually they go well. There's nothing usually major wrong. Okay. So that's the other thing, is that thing about worrying about the dentist or the doctor. There may be a few things that get done, but you've had experience in that. Very seldom do we have something major come up, correct?
Right, that's correct. And it also gives the buyer that little bit of extra confidence that this is a good house. If it's already passed the occupancy inspection, they figure there can't be too much wrong with this house that I would have to worry about.
Right, and some areas are a little bit tougher. I'm not going to lie about that. They're tougher in their inspections. But the good thing about that is with that toughness, it also makes it a good marketing piece. Certain areas, as I said, are a little bit more tougher. And if you as a seller can say, hey, I passed this house is ready to move in, look, word gets around, and buyers are much more likely to write an offer on your house versus someone in a house that they don't know if they can even move in.
Right.
And so,
and we've had occasions where that's happened, that someone has forgotten to get their occupancy inspection done, and we're well on our way to closing, and suddenly it has to get done, and they find out there's a few things there that have to be completed, and so it can delay a closing, just because someone forgot.
Which costs time and puts everything in jeopardy, and just not a place that most people want to go. It's not worth it when it simply takes a phone call. I think at the most it's like $100 or something like that. So it's not even that expensive. Right. And so with that being said, the last thing I'll say on that, sometimes it is a more of a major thing. And that's even worse, because now you're 3 days before closing, and all of a sudden the inspection comes in, and now one that comes up, especially in older homes, is having a firewall, having drywall from the connected garage to the living space. That can create serious problems. It's also an expense that you as a seller weren't expecting to have to put out. And in order to get the house sold, guess what? It's what you're going to need to do. So all in all, it's just a no-brainer not to have a home inspection done, not to have that out right up front. Remember, they last a year. So even if you're just thinking about putting your house in the market, contact your local city, the county, whoever, Google it, just call them, make a quick phone call, talk to your realtor if you're talking to a realtor then, get it taken care of. With that, we're running out of time. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. You do a great job for our team. I can't thank you enough for that. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a wrap-up of what we talked about today. A lot of good stuff. You listen to Ready, Set, Sold with Bryan Vogt.